Here we are. Hey everybody, welcome. Whether you're watching this at a later date or you're with us live, we're glad to see you. Even though we can't see you, we'll start in Child's Pose. Just like we have in past weeks, begin to connect your breath here. Deep inhales through your nose, deep exhales. Just begin to settle into your mat. Again, you're attempting to find some stillness and quiet that doesn't create some element of being really lethargic, but creates some sort of energy. A stillness is restful and energizing. So engage your Ujjayi breathing here, deep inhales through your nose, create a small constriction in the back of your throat. As you pull air in, see if you can inhale to the count of 4 and then exhale to the count of 6, breathing out deeply. And we'll take one more inhale together. See if you can expand and lift your ribcage to the ceiling just with breath, filling up, lifting your belly off your quads. And then exhale, sink everything to the mat. And we'll press up into downward facing dog. And again, hold and maintain breath here. We're kind of seeking anatomical neutral in everything that we do. So imagine here, fingertips, 45-degree angles towards the edge of your mat. And work to rotate your biceps towards the front of the room to expand through your upper back. Paddle feet right and left. Just find some movement. Find what's comfortable for you. And then when we go on an inhale together, fill up, lift onto your toes. Hold, halfway lift. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Down dog. And then breathe. One breath. Exhale everything out. Step to the front of your mat. Halfway lift. Squeeze shoulder blades to the ceiling, forward fold. Extended mountain pose. Gaze comes to the ceiling. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Down dog. One breath. Empty everything out. Press your heels to the mat. Step or jump forward. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Extended mountain pose. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Down dog. And then breathe for 2 rounds of breathing. Fill back up. Sink your chest to your quads on your exhale. One more breath. Rotate biceps to the front of the room. Empty everything out. And then step or jump forward. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Chair pose. Work here. The goal is not to just immediately sink our hips as low as possible in the beginning, but can we set up for the position? So lifting the front of our pelvis up to the ceiling, if you've got like a dump truck butt, if your tailbone's tucked under really far, you're just trying to find a neutral pelvis, pull thumbs to the back of the room, one more breath, forward fold, halfway lift, low plank, upward facing dog, down dog, warrior one right side. So just like with all our poses where we're on our feet here, we'll start and build a base from the ground up. So we'll squeeze inner thighs together. Make sure to track our right knee over our right toes. Knife edge of our back foot presses into the mat. 2 more breaths. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, sink deeper. Last breath. And low plank. Upward facing dog, down dog. One breath. Empty out, and then warrior one left side. All the same cues hold here. Engage inner thighs, squeeze them together. And notice if you're super crunched up, Logan has a good position. If you're crunched up here with your arms, can you drop shoulders away from ears? Knife edge of our back foot into the mat, look at it. One more breath, and low plank. Upward facing dog, down dog. One breath, fill up, empty, step or jump forward. Halfway lift, fold, chair pose, fold, halfway lift, low plank, upward facing dog, down dog, warrior one right side, root to rise here, low plank, empty out as you lower, upward facing dog, fill all the way up to your belly, down dog, warrior one left side, great breathing, low plank, upward facing dog, into down dog, and then breathe, one breath. Exhale it out. One more time, fill up. Empty. We'll do one more breath after this. Fill all the way up, reset. Exhale. And then step or jump forward. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Chair pose. Fold. Lift. Low plank, upward facing dog, down dog, warrior one right side, low plank. And as you begin to pattern this sequence, upward facing dog, down dog, you begin to be able to flow there naturally, warrior one left side, at your own breath. So if you're at home practicing with us, low plank, your body knows the movements if you've been with us for a few weeks, down dog, and then breathe. So can you find flow? It's called a vinyasa flow for a reason. Can you find flow with your breath? One more breath. Fill all the way up. Empty out. And then we'll come into the three-legged dog on the right side. And we'll square hips to the ground first. So we have to really engage right glute to straighten our back legs. So pull your heel higher, Logan. And breathe. Flex your toes towards your face. And then hinge at the knee. Begin to open your hip towards the left side room. So bottom of our right foot is facing towards the left. Begin to bring our gaze underneath our left or right armpit. And like we have in past weeks, can you lift your right hand off the mat? So find balance here. And maybe that brings you right into flip dog, and if you're in flip dog, go ahead and go there. And there's no pretty way that you have to get into flip dog, so you can just reset, point both feet towards the back of your mat, square your hips, bring your gaze over your head, one more breath, and side plank right hand down. Stack feet. And notice here, can you bring your right hip under and forward to create a straight line from your shoulder all the way to your ankles? It makes the pose significantly harder because it puts all the weight on your lateral muscles. One more breath. And low plank. Move through your vinyasa. We'll meet in down dog. And breathe here. One more breath. And three-legged dog on the left side. Square your hips to the ground, flex your toes towards your face, back foot even higher. And then we'll hinge at the knee. Begin to stretch through the hip, bring your gaze underneath your left armpit. And then we'll begin to lift our left hand off the mat. Find balance here. And again, if you're at home, maybe it drops you right into flip dog, and that's fine. Stay in flip dog. And if you can, find the balance and stillness and stay. And then go to flip dog. Good job. Soften your standing elbow. One more breath, hips even higher. And release. We'll come down to side plank with our left hand down. And again, this time we'll bring our left hip forward and rotate to create a straight line from our shoulder to our feet. I'm about to sneeze. So while I'm waiting to sneeze, stay in pose. One more breath. And low plank, move through your vinyasa. And meet in down dog. Good job. For one breath, fill up. Empty out. And then we'll come into crescent lunge on the right side. So like warrior one earlier, except our back foot, we're onto the ball of our back foot. And zip up your back hamstring, press it towards the ceiling. One more breath. Hands come to heart center. And revolve crescent lunge. Again, zip up our back hamstring. There's a tendency to let this back leg kind of begin to dip down. Press your hamstring to the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Stack shoulder blades. One more breath. Lift your left elbow off your knee. Hold. And then we'll open up into warrior two. Back foot comes flat on the mat at a 90-degree angle. Gaze comes over our front middle finger. One more breath. Fill up. Reverse warrior on the exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. Extended side angle. And again here, feel free to work into the pose. Maybe your elbow comes to your knee to begin as you begin to stretch through your left side body. No matter where you are, pull your left shoulder towards the right side of the room. Another way to access this, can you look at your left hand through your right eye? And maybe reach for a bind if you'd like. I've said this in a few classes, but for us in CrossFit, oftentimes we have pretty tight shoulders and upper body at times. So this bind really helps to move towards that. If you can't get a full hand bind, you can grab a towel or a strap or something to help work towards that. You can unwind out of the bind, Logan. And then we'll bring our left hand to the mat, drop our back knee for dragon. Begin to ease down into the pose. And for a hip flexor stretch on our left side, we can lift our back knee. We can keep it on the mat. It's a great way to access hip mobility. And no matter where you are, if your forearms are on the ground, if you're still on your palms, that's great. One more breath here. And then we'll come onto our palms. And we'll lift our right foot, hold it where it is, breathe, one more breath, and bring it back for high plank, move through your vinyasa. And meet in down dog. And we'll come right into crescent lunge on the left side. Lengthen, extend, root to rise, zip up your back hamstring. One more breath here. Hands come to heart center. And we'll come to revolve crescent lunge. For more access, make a fist with your left hand, press it into your right. Zip up your back hamstring. Inhale, lengthen. Imagine pulling the crown of your head to the front of the room. And the exhale all of your oxygen, twist further. And we'll lift our right elbow off of our knee, hold, and we'll spin into warrior two. Bring our gaze over our front middle finger. more breath here. Reverse warrior, deep side body stretch, and extended side angle. And again, work your way into this pose. Maybe start with a hand on your knee. As it comes to the ground, feel free to use a prop at any point. If you want to reach for the bind, feel free to do so. And again, you can grab a towel or a strap, anything that will help bring your hands closer together. Sometimes it's easy to get in the bind and just kind of dump and hunch forward, but we're still working to open up through our chest. So notice as Logan pulls shoulder blades together. One more breath. And you will unwind if you're in the bind. Bring the right hand to the mat, we'll come to dragon. Again, find your expression of this pose here, depending on your hip mobility. Come onto the knife edge of your left foot as you begin to hinge your knee towards the left side of the room. One more breath here, and then we'll press up. We'll lift our left foot, stay in high plank, one breath, and then we'll move it back for high plank. Move through your vinyasa, we'll meet in down dog. And breathe here. One of the things people have often asked in a class before is like, well, what if my heels aren't on the mat in a down dog? And if you're new to yoga, the reality isn't, the goal is just to get your heels to the mat, but to have a stretch in your posterior chain. And so whether your heels are on the mat or not, it's completely fine. We're working here to pull our head and our chest through our arms, to get our heart below our body, lengthening our posterior chain. One more breath, fill up, lift onto your toes. Exhale, sink your heels to the mat, and then step or jump forward. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair pose. We'll bring our hands to heart center, and we'll prayer twist to the left. We're anchoring again here just like we did earlier in revolve crescent lunge. So inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And fingers to toes forward fold. I've said this every week we've practiced together. And if you're looking for a deep challenge within your yoga practice, this is a lot of kind of like the self-intrinsic challenge. And the key to that is, or the way to access that is through our breath. And the thing we'll consistently notice is it's less of like a competition with ourselves and more honestly like a surrender and just joining in with ourselves. But the breath is the access to that. And so can you commit to your breathing in the midst of practice when it's hard and it's difficult, when you're constricted, whenever you're out of breath. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair pose. Hands come to heart center, and we'll prayer twist to the left. Right, sorry. And again, breath is the key here, so can you intentionally inhale, lengthen the crown of your head, exhale, twist deeper. Breathe even in the midst of a constriction. Don't just shut your brain and body off, but really be present where you are in the pose. 1 more breath. And palms and toes forward fold. Take our palms, place them physically on the mat, and step into the crease of your wrists and your palm. And practice here, maybe lifting 1 foot at a time for a little stretch in our wrists, a little counter stretch. One more breath here. And empty out. We'll release our hands, and we'll set up for crow pose. create a wide base on the mat, suction cup our fingers to the mat, and then work our knees on the back of our triceps. And the tendency always in here is to jump if you're new to crow. But can you just begin to rock forward, or before you know it, both of your feet and toes lift off the mat. And then if you're in the pose, can you stay for 5 breaths? And then after your 5th breath, can you begin to hinge, use your core, lift your hips up towards the ceiling, and then shoot your legs back for high plank. Good job, Libby. We'll move through our vinyasa. We'll meet in down dog. And then we'll walk our feet forward, small steps to meet our hand. And we'll come into Malasana squat. So we'll walk feet out wide on the mat, sink our hips down. The goal here is to have our heels on the mat. And work here to get as vertical as possible with your spine, stacking shoulders over hips. And we'll come into Malasana twist. So left hand comes to the mat, right hand to the ceiling, open up. Lock your left elbow into your left knee and then press out. And really work to pull your right shoulder behind you and across your body. One more breath. Come back to center, and then we'll switch sides. Again, really work here in the pose. This is one of those poses that's similar to like working on any of our like front squat form and stuff, and that it takes us just really committing to like the micro adjustments. And so can we really press that right knee out with our right elbow, really pull our left hand up towards the ceiling, twist across our body. One more breath, and release. And we'll come to standing on our mat. Find your way there wherever you need to, shake out. And we'll come into eagle on the right side. Come into a quarter squat on our left leg, right leg over right arm comes under. And again, no matter where you are in the arm bind, can you work? So right arm is under. Can you work, even if this is as far as you get, can you work to bring elbows up in line with shoulders? And then pull shoulder blades to the back of the room. Find adjust here, still point and focus. And then begin to sink a little bit deeper. One more breath. And switch sides. And just like with everything, you probably find that one shoulder bind has a little more access or mobility than the other. So work with it. Don't fight or have judgment around it. It's where you are today, and that's where you are. Bring elbows in line with shoulders. Pull shoulder blades to the back of the room. One more breath. And release. Eagle on the right again. And can you notice more access after one time in the pose? Is there something different that's possible for you here? Maybe you can pull shoulder blades just a touch more towards the back of the room. Maybe elbows lift a little bit higher. Fingertips press to the ceiling. Maybe you can sink just an inch deeper. One more breath. And switch sides. Again, what's possible on this side? Find something different. Square your hips to the front of the room. One more breath, intentional, and release. And we'll come into standing leg raise on the right side. So we'll lift right knee to the ceiling, and then we'll begin to open up our hips, or our right hip. And maybe you have access to grab your toe and straighten your hamstring. Maybe for you, just having your right knee raised and hips open towards the right side of the room is what you have today, and that's great. So no matter where you are, can you focus and breathe? And you can notice how your mind can keep you in the pose. And often it's our mind that limits us in the midst of a pose that might be difficult or require some attention and focus. One more breath. And release. We'll come into standing leg raise on the left side. We'll open up, left knee towards the left side of the room. And then reach for your toe or your foot if it's possible in your practice. If not, again, stay where you are, that's great. One more breath here. And release. And we'll come back to standing, shake out for a second. We'll come into a forward fold. Let your head hang heavy. And then we'll halfway lift. And from a halfway lift, bring our biceps beside our ears, lengthen fingertips to the front of the room. And notice here, can we use our glutes and our hamstrings to hold us? And then we'll slowly lift our right foot and we'll come into Warrior 3. And then bring our hands to our side for airplane. One more breath. And then half moon. Spider fingers come to the ground, or a block, or some sort of prop. Again, work here to pull right shoulder towards the left side of the room. And can you slowly work your gaze up to the ceiling? One more breath. And release. Come back to forward fold. Shake your head out, right and left, yes and no. And then halfway lift again. Bring biceps beside our ears, point our fingers to the front of the room. And then we'll come to Warrior 3 on the opposite side. So left foot lifts, flex your toes to your face. Press the floor away. Hands come to your side for airplane. And then lift your back foot even higher. And half moon. Pull left shoulder towards the right side room. One more breath. And release, forward fold. And we'll come back to standing. And shake out. Adjust to being vertical for a second. And we'll come into true pose on the left. The opposite foot we just stood on, whichever one that was. Which one was it? Do you remember? Great. You're on the left, actually. Left foot comes to the inside of our right leg. After the sequence of poses we were just in, this pose maybe feels pretty nice to be able to just ground and be still without a lot of movement. And so can we just be in that for a minute? And find your expression, maybe fingertips lift to the ceiling. Maybe you interlock fingers, which makes it a little bit tougher. We'll slowly switch legs with control here. Again, can we find stillness? Maybe one side's tougher. Just let it be what it is. Find your expression. wherever you are. And release. And we'll come to forward fold. Halfway lift. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Down dog. 2 breaths here. If you've been holding your breath in the standing poses, can you reconnect to it? And we'll come in triangle on the right side. Right foot steps through, press the floor away with our right leg. And then we'll twist open, left shoulder pulls towards the right side of the room. Press the knife edge of your left foot into the mat. Lift your left arch to the ceiling. Good adjustments. One more breath here. And then with our core engaged, can we step our back foot up to meet our front foot for forward fold? Yeah, forward fold. And then we'll step our right foot back for triangle on the left. And again, take plenty of depth with the step back. It's easier sometimes to get depth stepping forward and step back, so make sure you step your foot far enough back. And again, work to pull your right shoulder towards the left side of the room. One more breath here. And side facing wide leg forward fold. And we'll fold down towards the mat. And then halfway lift, reset, flat back, forward fold. And then we'll walk our hands over towards our left foot. And work your right hand as far as you can over towards your left foot, where you can begin to twist open and bring left fingertips to the ceiling. And if you get all the way to your foot, that's wonderful. And the main thing is we want to keep integrity in our legs. And so if you notice your right knee start to dip in, go as far as you can to where your right knee still stays straight. And then twist open. One more breath here. And then move back to center. And we'll do the same thing over towards our right leg. So again, if our left knee starts to cave in, you can come back a little more towards your center line. Lift both arches to the ceiling. Press the knife edge of our feet into the mat. One more breath. And we'll slowly come back to center. And then we'll move into Shavasana over on the left side. Working here to keep our left heel on the mat, but coming under our toes is perfectly fine. And then stack shoulders over hips. Work to get as vertical as possible. For a little challenge, bring fingertips to the ceiling. One more breath. Bless me. Thank you. And then without using our hands, can we step up into our center line? Good job. And we'll come into Shavasana on the right. And Logan has more ankle mobility in the right foot, which I don't know if I've ever really noticed. So her right heel can be on the mat, which you might find in your body as well. One side works better. Not works better. One side just has more access than the other. Find your expression in the pose. And And we'll come back to center line again. Forward fold. Point fingertips towards the back of the room. Press palms to the mat. Pull your head and self down through your body. And then halfway lift, flat back. And then we'll come into forward fold at the front of the mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Extended mountain pose. Find your breath here. Flow a little bit. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Into down dog. And round 2 rounds of breathing. One more breath. Empty out. Then we'll come to the top of a push-up. Then we'll lift our right foot off the ground. Hold. Switch for a round of breathing. One more breath. And toes back to the mat. We'll go back into down dog for 1 round of breathing. And then back to the top of a push-up. And then we'll bring our right knee to our right elbow. Hover. And then bring it back. And bring our right knee to our left elbow. Hover. Twist. One more breath. And then bring it back. Go into down dog. And then high plank top of a push-up. And we'll bring left knee to left elbow. Breathe. And then back to high plank. Left knee to right elbow. Deep twist here. Engage your core. And then back into down dog. 1 breath. And then high plank. And we'll lower the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everything to the mat. Let your ear find the mat. And then bring bottoms of the feet up to the ceiling. Windshield wiper feet right and left. Rinse out your lower back. Feel your heartbeat through the floor. And then we'll come to standing on our knees for camel. We'll place our hands to the small of our back and come into a mini back bend here. And or work your hands all the way down toward your heels or your ankles. One more breath. And release. We'll swing our hips around for bridge pose. And then when we get on our backs, we'll lift into bridge. Working here not to arch our lower back, but to create a straight line from our shoulders to our knees. 3 more breaths here. 2 more. Last breath. And release. And we'll set up here, we're going to either 2 bridge or wheel. So we'll set up for wheel, those are your practice. And on your next inhale, lift up, bridge or wheel for 4 rounds of breathing. 2 more breaths. Last breath. And release slowly. We got 1 more bridge or wheel. So on your next inhale, go right to it. Don't think about it, just do it. 3 more breaths. Last breath. And lower down. And we'll come into Supta Konasana. Bottoms of our feet come together. Good job, Logan. Right hand to our belly button, left hand to our heart. And feel the air enter in through our chest, fill up our belly, and then enter or exit the same way. bring bottoms of the feet to the ceiling for a waterfall. A little hamstring stretch here. Flex your toes towards your face. And then we'll press up in a supported shoulder stand. So we'll rock up, supporting our lower back with our hands, and then working to hinge at our hips and bring our feet stacked over our hips best that we can. And notice here in the constriction, it's difficult to breathe. Right, it's like having a lot of weight on our chest. And we'll come into plow pose. Toes come to the mat behind us. And breathe. And then knees drop to the mat beside our ears. And again, find breath, sip air, even in a constriction. And we'll straighten legs back for plow. And then slowly, one vertebra at a time, we'll lower back down the waterfall. Engage your core here. And then we'll come back to Supta Baddha Konasana. Bottoms of the feet come together, knees fall out wide. And breathe. And then we'll come into fish pose. So we'll straighten the feet out in front of us. Onto our elbows, let our head hang heavy behind us, opening through our chest. And then we'll come to reverse tabletop. One thing here will probably be our shoulder mobility. So can we still press through our hips, lifting up towards the ceiling. One more breath, and release. Good job. And we'll come into a seated forward fold. So we'll straighten legs out in front of us, lengthen spine towards the ceiling, and then fold forward. The goal here is not to get to touching our toes or folding fully over, but can we create a straight spine and hinge at our hips? So you have super tight hamstrings like me, maybe even putting something like a towel that's folded up, something underneath your actual knees. Come back to seated. And then we'll swing our legs around. We'll come back into downward facing dog. And then we'll come into half pigeon on the right side. So we'll bring our right knee to our right wrist. And we'll slowly, starting seated, so we'll come bring shoulders and everything seated over us to make sure that we can, with no hands, stack properly. And then begin to hinge forward. Make sure we're protecting our knee here. Folding forward for a deep T-band stretch and hip stretch. And as we start to slow down in the practice and find a little bit of release, can you notice where your thoughts go? And when are they? Are they thinking of something that's coming next? Are they thinking of something in the past, or are they right where you are right now on your mat? And no matter where they are, can you bring them back to your breath, into the present moment? Can you bring mindfulness to your practice right now, right where you are? We'll slowly begin to lift up and unwind and And we'll come into half pigeon on the other side. Again, making sure before we begin to hinge and fold forward, can we with no hands stack and sit properly, and then begin to fold forward over our front leg. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly release, unwind our leg. And we'll come into frog on our mat. So working here to create 90-degree angles at our knees, at our ankles, and our hips. Again, a pose that probably for most of us is pretty difficult, in that you can't really like will yourself or like work harder in it, but you kind of have to surrender to your hip mobility and the tension that might be being created in this way of stretching. And so can we just be with it and be present with it and not have to fix it or complain about it or get mad about it or shift it or change it, but just surrender to maybe we don't have very flexible hips. And the way through this is to just be in it and be with it and commit to it. One more breath. And we'll slowly unwind. And we'll come to lying on our backs. And we'll bend our knees, hug our knees into our chest, find some movement. And we'll bring bottoms up. And supine twist over on our right side. Anchor your left shoulder, pull your left knee over your right side body. Rinsing out our back in a deep spinal twist. And again, hug your knees into your chest. And then we'll straighten our left. We'll come into supine twist over to our left side. Anchor your right shoulder in the mat. Sinking into the pose, not immediately bringing your right knee to the mat. But keeping integrity, anchoring your right shoulder. Stay with your breath. If you find your thoughts starting to wander, stay in your breath. Bring your attention to your breathing. Ujjayi breath, constriction in the back of your throat. One more breath. And hug your knees back into your chest. Find some movement side to side. And then we'll come into happy baby. Reaching through the inside of our knees, outside of our feet. Finding movement, demonstrating one leg at a time. And then bring bottoms of our feet together for a deep groin stretch. You can pull feet down towards your belly button. And then with feet still together, we'll bring them to the mat for Supta Baddha Konasana. We'll interlace fingers, flip palms towards the back of the room. And breathe. And then we'll slowly bring feet out in front of us, biggest stretch of the day. Point your toes towards front of your mat, and then flex your toes towards your face. And then relax your feet, let ankles fall out right and left. And then bring your arms to your side to set up for Shavasana or final resting. And this is where we'll leave you. Thank you for practicing with us. Thank you for committing to yourself with an hour of work, of release, of mindfulness. We encourage you to continue. You have about 6 or 7 minutes to rest in Shavasana, which perhaps is the most important part of the practice. The time for us to be still and to be present exactly where we are. So take this time to do so. Namaste. We're grateful for you. Thank you. And we'll see you next time.